Hello, welcome to Granada Reports. We're live with the latest across the northwest.
Hello, on the programme this evening.
When 40 years in jail isn't enough, the controlling killer who could see his sentence increased for murdering 2 of his children and killing the woman who rejected him.
The clear rationale or intent behind these offences was to try to distract his then partner from his gambling habit and maintain control over her.
The report that says elephants have no place in zoos. We hear what Chester Zoo has to say.
And after a wet old start, the tide came in Morecambe this afternoon and the sun came out. I'll bring you the forecast for the rest of the week and the weekend a little later on.
So please stay with us. First, though, he was a gambling addict described as cruel and controlling. In 7 years, he killed his young son, his baby daughter, and poisoned a girlfriend who rejected him.
Judges at the Court of Appeal have today been asked to consider whether Jordan Monaghan from Blackburn should be given a whole life sentence.
At his trial at Preston Crown Court in December, the judge told him he would serve a minimum of 40 years before he'd be considered for parole.
Monaghan is among 5 notorious killers whose sentences are being reviewed. Our correspondent Elaine Wilcox has the latest.
Jordan Monaghan had revelled in the attention after the sudden deaths of his own children. He'd smothered his baby daughter Ruby at just 24 days old. 8 months later, he killed his son Logan when his partner discovered his gambling debts and had threatened to leave him. He was arrested after he attempted to murder a 3rd child. But while on bail, he started a new relationship with a vulnerable mom, Evie Adams, and he poisoned her, angry at being rejected. Senior judges at the Court of Appeal were told there was no mitigation at all, and his 40-year minimum term was unduly lenient.
So over a 7-year period, this offender either killed, in terms of murdered, or attempted to murder 4 individuals. The clear rationale or intent behind these offences was to try to distract his then partner from his gambling habit and maintain control over her, despite her repeated attempts to free herself of him.
After his sentence last December, the children's mother sobbed as police read her statement.
All I ever wanted to be was a mum. I wanted to give children the love and opportunities I didn't have growing up. Jordan knew how much I wanted this too. My children are the most important things in my life. I loved every single day I had with them and often think about this. Jordan took the lives of Logan and Ruby. Initially, and for a very long time, I did not want to believe this, but now I know it's the truth.
Alongside them, Evie Adams' parents, who are now waiting by the phone for news from the courts. The judges will decide if 5 notorious killers, including Jordan Monaghan, should spend the rest of their lives behind bars. Elaine Wilcox, ITV News.
And that hearing's expected to conclude tomorrow, with the Court of Appeal judges announcing their decision at a later date.
One of the country's most wanted men, who's from Manchester, has been arrested in Portugal. Callum Halpin from Openshaw was wanted for the suspected murder of Luke Graham, who was shot in Ashton-under-Lyne nearly 4 years ago. Halpin was detained in the Algarve by Portuguese police on Monday. Officials now want to extradite him to the UK.
It's been confirmed that the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge will be at the official opening of the memorial for the 22 people killed in the Manchester Arena attack. The Glade of Light in the city centre bears the name of each of those who died. The official opening is next Tuesday, just ahead of the 5th anniversary of the bombing. The Duke will speak at a short ceremony, while the Duchess will lay flowers.
Meanwhile, the Queen has sent her best wishes to Arrow Park Hospital in Wirral as it marks its 40th anniversary. Her Majesty performed the official opening ceremony in 1982. It cost £30 million and brought together services from 3 hospitals in Wallasey, Birkenhead and Leeso.
And here's some good news. Passengers will be able to get a direct flight from Liverpool to Frankfurt for the first time in 10 years, opening up hundreds of routes across the world. The Lufthansa flight means travellers will get the chance to go on to Europe, America, Asia, the Middle East and Africa. The first plane to leave today was baptised, as they say, by Merseyside Fire and Rescue Service.
A new mural of footballer Marcus Rashford has been unveiled in Manchester. The artwork near Shude Hill shows the Manchester United player with his eyes shut to the abuse he gets on social media. It was made by artist Ruben Dangor. He says he wanted to show support for Rashford by including some of the positive messages the United forward receives online.
Yeah, a really striking image. Well, talking of football, that leads us rather neatly to the Champions League.
Yeah, it certainly does. Liverpool are already on the plane to the final in Paris. They booked their place after a nervy start to their semi-final in Spain last night.
I hope they're not on the plane. They've got Tottenham on Saturday. But can Manchester City make it an all-North West final? They're also in Spain to face the mighty Real Madrid with a 1-goal lead to defend.
Yeah, more on City in a moment. But first, our sports correspondent Mike Hall on how Liverpool and their fans are heading for France.
Ending massive, feels like it's the first, to be honest, because it's always so special. It's, for me, the best club competition in the world.
You know, to be in a final is never ever easy in whatever competition you're in, and to make this, you know, the third in a space of 5 years is incredible from this group of boys, and you know, as his players and fans.
Hey, we got there, baby! Woo!
Going to Paris. Vamos, come on, Liverpool! Woo, woo, woo.
Jurgen Klopp is the man. He's in charge. He's doing all of this.
Next stop, Paris. Vamos! Vamos!
Where talk quickly turned to the prospect of an all-North-West final.
Not Man City.
Oh, I want Madrid. We've seen enough of City this season.
I want Madrid, yeah.
I think it's going to be an all-English Champions League final.
And who do you want?
But I want Real Madrid.
It has to be Real Madrid for me.
But it'd be nice to have one over Manchester. The Champions League final, the two best teams in Europe could be in the final. They're not there yet, City, but we are.
Good morning, World Choice Sports. Yeah, Champions League final. Which package would you be interested in?
Today, the battle to get to Paris was underway as supporters swooped early for flights and accommodation.
I think each club has 20,000 tickets, but the amount of people that will travel over there will be 5, 6, 7 times that easily. It's going to be crazy. If Man City win tonight, can you imagine the whole of the northwest of England's going to be going over there? Flights are going to be getting out of control.
It's going to be a special occasion. We're looking forward to it. We've got a lot of games from now to then, but our season's been extended, but for the right reasons, and we're so happy about it. And you know, we can't wait to try and go and compete and, you know, try and make it number 7.
By the time Liverpool walk out for the final in 24 days' time, they could be on the verge of a clean sweep of trophies. They've been crowned European champions no fewer than 6 times already. Yet victory in Paris would eclipse them all if it's the moment they complete English football's first ever quadruple.
Well, Mike joins us now. So, Mike, just put into context what Liverpool are doing this season. It is incredible, isn't it?
It is incredible, Lucy. And last night they made history. They became the first English club to qualify for a Champions League final, an FA Cup final and a League Cup final, all in the same season. So far, they've won the League Cup. Whether they win the rest remains to be seen. But the fact that they've qualified for those 3 finals now means that Liverpool will play in every single game possible during the course of the season. Every match available to them as a club. And that's a total of 63 games. And what's even more remarkable is that not only have they made it to all of these finals, but they've managed to maintain their position right near the top of the Premier League too, just a point behind Manchester City with 4 games to play. So an incredible achievement, just the 1 trophy in that cabinet at Anfield so far, but they've got 6 games left now to try and make it 4.
This is all very exciting, Mike, especially if you are a Liverpool fan, but Manchester City do stand in their way of achieving all of that.
They do, and Manchester City will be loving all of this talk about Liverpool and the quadruple because it takes the spotlight off them and keeps it firmly on Liverpool. But the reality is Manchester City want to make their own history. They've never won the Champions League or the European Cup before. They were beaten in last year's final, so they're desperate to go one step further. And yeah, they could win a Premier League and Champions League double too. So yeah, it's a huge night for them, but they've got to get to that final.
OK, Mike, thanks for that. Notice that none of us are wearing any team colours. We're just dressed as football pitches, aren't we, tonight? Very carefully wearing green. So, though, are Manchester City going to do it? It's time to hear from them
Yeah, in a moment, the ITV team in Madrid will be bringing us some of the atmosphere from there. But first, David Chisnell looks ahead to another massive game.
From Manchester to Madrid. City supporters are in the Spanish capital, hoping to see their side reign in Spain. A slender 4-3 advantage from the home leg of their Champions League semi-final with Real Madrid means for all those who have City close to their heart, there's nervous anticipation ahead of tonight's away trip to the Bernabeu.
That everybody wants to see, I think, is everybody's anticipating a great game, and we will try to get the best out of ourselves, to give a good showing of ourselves, of our club, and then hopefully progress to Paris.
Real are the 13-time European champions, while City are still searching for their first. But when it comes to the most recent history, the advantage is with Pep Guardiola's side. 2 years ago, they won in the Bernabeu on their way to knocking Madrid out in the last 16.
That is not guarantee, no? For the fact you have been there, you're going to play good or perform well. This is what we try to do, and they know you have to perform well in our best to reach the final.
If we play the way that we played last week, then we have a potential to be one of the best teams. If we are not, or a little bit below that, there's a possibility that Madrid can win this game. Because they are also one of the best teams in the world, and the quality they have is amazing.
Under former Everton boss Carlo Ancelotti, Real were crowned Spanish champions at the weekend. Despite his stellar squad, he knows that City have their own stars, including Stockport's Phil Foden.
I think he's going to have a fantastic career because I think he is a modern striker. He can play everywhere, really fast, really intelligent, really dangerous. I think he was one in this moment one of the best talent that England has.
With footballing Star Wars across the pitch tonight, City are hoping for a date with destiny as they try to overthrow the Galactico Empire and see the rise of Sky Blues. May the 4th be with them. David Chisnell, ITV News.
Yeah, it is a huge night for Manchester City, but what about the fans' side of it all?
Yeah, so it's over to Madrid, and ITV correspondent Sangeeta Lal, who's with some very excited City supporters in the Spanish capital.
So we're in the city centre in Madrid, and as I'm sure you can probably hear, people are getting pretty excited ahead of the match. They'll start heading into the stadium pretty soon, and I am joined by George, Alex, Josh and Harry. How are you guys feeling ahead of tonight?
Confident. Fine.
Why are you so confident? Obviously, Manchester City in a very strong position going into tonight, but if they get through, they're in an all-British final for the Champions League.
The best team in the land and all the world.
Yeah. I think we're the best team in Europe at the moment. Yeah. Better than Liverpool.
Yeah. But, I don't want to think about the final. We've got a job to do tonight first.
Yeah.
You know.
So you don't want to think about the final just yet. You want to think about tonight. Who is going to be your man of the match tonight?
Kevin De Bruyne, without a doubt.
Kevin De Bruyne, without a doubt.
Big game.
Without a doubt. He's the best on earth. 100%.
He makes the team tick. When he plays, you know, it sets the tone, and we need a big performance from Kev tonight.
And the sun's out for you guys tonight. Slightly different to Liverpool fans yesterday. How are you feeling? It feels good here today.
It's nice to get a bit of sun after all the lockdowns and stuff.
Yeah, it's lovely. Not used to it in Manchester, so
yeah, it seems like it's a pretty good crowd at the moment already.
Yeah. They didn't give us many tickets, but I mean, look at it, we've filled it all. So
we make the most of it.
More can
we
you
make
do?
the most of it.
And why is tonight so important for you?
It's just a massive game, you know, Champions League semi-final, you know. There's a final at the end of it and potentially a trophy at the end of it.
But you are going up against some seasoned Champions League final pros. How does that feel, though?
Well, we're the better team going into the game, so...
I think if you look at the games this season, other than that Carabao when we played our second team, we were miles better than them in both the two league games. I know we only got draws, but if you transfer that into a final, I think there's no reason we can't smash it.
It shows how far we've come as well. You know, we're on the big stage now, and we need to deliver, and I'm sure we can.
No doubt, an amazing opportunity for you guys to see Manchester City go through some darker times, and now in such a strong position tonight. Thank you. Have a really, really fun night, and good luck.
Thank you. Cheers.
So a really important night, not just for Manchester City fans, but Liverpool fans too, for potentially an all-Northwest Champions League final.
Yeah, thanks for that, Sangeeta. We've heard from the Liverpool fans. They seem to want Madrid in that final. Is that just Northwest rivalry talking like?
Yeah, there's a bit of that. I think Liverpool and City are such fierce domestic rivals at the moment. They've been battling it out on all fronts all season. I think they just fancied a break from each other. But there's another reason that Liverpool would like to play Real Madrid in the final, and it's to do with unfinished business. If you go back to the 2018 final, they lost to Madrid when Mo Salah had to leave the field early in the game after an awful challenge by Madrid's captain at the time, Sergio Ramos. Liverpool were furious about that and eventually lost 3-1. They would love some revenge for that, but it's very much in Manchester City's hands now. It is a huge night for them. Let's keep everything crossed that they can pull it off.
Yeah, we've got everything crossed here, that's for sure. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah. Good luck, City. Now, May is always like this, so nerve-wracking for football fans. I'm sure many of you will agree. Anyway, on to the rest of the day's news and claims from a wildlife charity that elephants actually live longer when working in difficult conditions on logging plants in the Far East than they do in zoos like Blackpool and Chester.
Yeah, the claims being made by the Born Free Foundation, which has brought out a report today which they say highlights the poor health and life expectancy of elephants in captivity. They want the UK government to make all zoos here elephant-free.
Our reporter Tim Scott went to Chester Zoo to see how they responded.
They are some of the most popular attractions at our zoos, but according to a new report by the Born Free Foundation, elephants shouldn't be there at all.
The report's authors are calling for a complete ban on keeping elephants in zoos. They say it's a tragic and gross exploitation of the animals. But staff here at Chester Zoo say that keeping elephants here actually benefits the species and can lead to advances in science and conservation.
The report is called Elephants in Zoos, a legacy of shame. It says life expectancy for the animals is lower in captivity and that many animals die young. It says the enclosures they're kept in are just too small and lead to depression in the elephants.
We're saying that enough is enough. We've been keeping elephants in zoos for 200 years nearly in the United Kingdom, and the shocking evidence that we've uncovered about their mental health, their physical health, their low breeding rates, their low longevity, means that we've got to bring this to a humane end just as quickly as we can.
But Chester Zoo's Dr. Simon Dowell refutes the report's findings.
Well, I would argue that they've got some of this wrong. They're basing it on a lot of historical data. Over the last 20 years, we've done so much research to improve welfare and improve mortality rates.
We've heard what you've said. We know what the Born Free Foundation said. You're both experts in this field. What's a layperson supposed to think of the fact that you just can't agree about this?
The report is based on a review of a number of articles and papers and media reports, actually, going back a very long way. And I think that's one of the problems with the report, is that it goes back right into the era when, elephant welfare, I would agree, was not good.
How long ago was that?
Well, 50 years and more. And we've made so many advances since then, and really now are at the forefront of welfare with these animals.
It seems the two sides have very little to agree on, and this debate about the future of elephants in our zoos looks set to run and run. Tim Scott, ITV News, Chester.
Well, still lots of reasons to stay with us. Here's what's coming up.
If you're thinking of becoming a fosterer or a puppy raiser for guide dogs, stay tuned. He's a good boy.
And there was half an inch of rain over Merseyside last night, but the old cruise ship here is trying its very best to brighten things up. I'll have the all-important weather forecast for the rest of this week and the weekend a little later on.
Gotta love those bright colours. Here's what's still to come on the ITV News at 6:30 with Mary.
Coming up in the programme, a final push from party leaders as tomorrow's local elections loom. But what will sway voters heading to the polls? Will it be Partygate, the cost of living crisis, or issues closer to home? Should taking a life mean spending the rest of yours behind bars? The high-profile killers bidding to have their sentences reduced. We catch up with the orphans from Dnipro who found new homes in Scotland. And from Hand of God to Under the Hammer, we'll have all the drama behind the sale of that Maradona shirt. So what did it go for? Well, we will bring you the answer to that and much more at 6:30. Now, as Mary was just saying, in just over 12 hours, polling stations open across the region for people to cast their vote in the local elections. But not every council is holding a vote, and not every vote is the same.
So here's our political correspondent, Leisha McNally, with a quick explainer of exactly what's going on across the Northwest and why we should all care about it.
On May 5th, people across the Northwest go to the polls, choosing nearly 500 councillors across 24 councils. 3 of these are all-out elections, meaning every seat is up for grabs in Rossendale, Bury and St Helens. The rest have a third of their seats up for election. But if political parties gain enough councillors, they can seize control of the council and run it for at least the next year. Last year's results left these 6 under no overall control, so there's everything to play for there. Moving up into Cumbria, and it's all change again. It's currently run by a county council with 6 district councils operating underneath. Now that setup is due to be scrapped. So tomorrow, people there will vote councillors onto a brand new Cumberland Council in the west and Westmoreland and Furness Council in the east. They'll take over next year, a shake-up that could eventually lead to a directly elected mayor for Cumbria, so the vote share will be really interesting to see there. Now, 24 councils covers an awful lot of voters, so this is a really good way for the government and opposition parties to check how they're doing with a general election just 2 years away. It will also impact pretty much every part of our lives, from council tax to bin collections, social services to education. All in all, many good reasons to pay close attention when the results start coming in from Friday.
Leisha McNally reporting there. Next, we think you'll enjoy our next story this evening. Get ready to say, ah.
Yeah, we know how you love dogs on this programme. The charity Guide Dogs is in urgent need of fosterers, volunteers who look after dogs in training, and also puppy raisers who have volunteered to look after the pups until they're ready to start their training.
So do you have what it takes? Paul Crone has been to visit the Guide Dog HQ in Atherton.
I mean, who wouldn't want to take home Bagel the puppy? But what you need to remember here is that she's not a pet. At the Guide Dogs Northwest Training HQ in Atherton, puppies will grow up to become a lifeline for people who are visually impaired. And part of that training requires volunteers to either become fosterers or puppy raisers.
They need a probably flexible, calm, consistent, patient attitude to the dog, just so the dog's nice and settled in the home.
It needs to be someone who's willing to get out and about with a puppy once it's old enough, exposing them to public transport, cafes, shops, other people and different situations and things like that.
Dogs here begin their training at around 14 months old, but the amount of wagging tails tells you it's rather an enjoyable experience. Karen Snape is now training her 26th puppy.
I can see how that dog improves from a tiny puppy that's mouthing you all the time and jumping all over the place to a dog that knows its name and knows where to go to the toilet and will sit and wait and go down and stay and come when it's called and walk on a beautifully loose lead.
Now, it doesn't matter if you're thinking of becoming a fosterer or a puppy raiser. The one thing to remember, and you've always got to remember it, is sooner or later the dog will go back.
I started to chat to people who had guide dogs as a service. It just changes them so much. It's everything to the person they're going on to. And we have our life, we're lucky we can see.
But we had a dog go back yesterday called Zola and was quite proud of her. It's a bit like a child going on to university. It's sad but very positive, yeah.
We try and prepare them from the start how it's going to be. But it's always hard. It is always hard for the volunteers.
It doesn't play with the ball, it doesn't go upstairs, it does have fun, but it does go to church and it does go to the hospital and it goes to all the places and shopping and all the boring places that your dog never goes, if it's a pet.
So as long as you know your dog isn't for life, but you're helping to change someone else's life for the better, why not take up the challenge? Paul Crone, ITV News, Atherton.
I need to send George there for some lessons. I couldn't send them back, though. That would be the problem. What a great job to do. Now then, time for the weather with John.
That sunshine really made your eyeshadow pop, you know. And you put the wipe in the bin, not the toilet.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Go ahead, Queen.
Hello again. Yes, well, we had an improving sort of a day weather-wise today. It was a damp, misty old start here at Cliviger this morning, just down the road from Burnley. And that half an inch of rain over Merseyside and the Wirral last night made sure that these grain crops are growing very nicely indeed. And a glance at the satellite and radar does show a lot of cloud this morning, some outbreaks of rain pulling away eastwards as those brighter skies edged in from the west through this afternoon. So for the rest of this evening and overnight tonight, it's going to stay dry, I think. There will be some cloud breaks developing during the course of the night, and there might be a spit or spot coming in on that northwesterly wind, but drier than it was last night. Slightly colder as well. Temperatures down to around 6 or 7 Celsius. Now here's a smashing sunset at Knott End, just across the estuary there from Fleetwood, and there he is sometimes for tomorrow, up at 5:28, setting again at 8:48. So in the morning there'll be a little bit of patchy cloud. Again, there could be a spit or spot, but that cloud will break up. We'll see some sunshine coming through and an odd shower tomorrow afternoon towards the Isle of Man and maybe up towards Cumbria there. But for most of us, it's going to be a dry day. And in that sunshine, some reasonable temperatures. Cheshire Way, 19 Celsius, 66 Fahrenheit. And a fine evening to round off the day. Now, not quite so good on Friday. We've got this frontal system passing through, which will increase cloud and bring some outbreaks of rain during the course of the day. Top temperatures not too bad at 15 Celsius, but that does lead into a fine weekend. That's it. Enjoy your evening.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Those eyebrows are unreal.
John, if you want to foster a guide dog, the charity is called Guide Dogs.
Do you know what? Like you, I'm going to rule myself out because I just won't be able to say goodbye. It's too
We're
cute.
just softies, aren't we? That's the trouble.
See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.